Welcome guys, this is your friend Naruto Addict 3.0 and we are back with a new fanfic. What if Naruto awakened the Rinnegan during the Chunin exams? Ultimate Harem Saga Part 1. Let's start this fanfic. The Judgment Day. After passing the first exam, the contestants gathered in front of the training ground 44 nicknamed Forest of Death. Most of them were nervous while one particular blonde was pretty ecstatic for the upcoming test. Hey Sakura-chan. Don't you worry one little bit, I'm sure we're gonna breeze through the second examination. I'll protect you with my life, said our blonde knucklehead as enthusiastically as ever, his spirits undwindled by the mysterious and a dangerous aura that the dense foliage in front of him seemed to be emitting. Don't shout, you idiot. We don't want to face extra competition because of your blabbering, hissed Sakura angrily as she bonked him over his head. But Sakura-chan, Naruto argued before he was interrupted. Will you quit it, Doby? Seriously, you're such a loser, muttered Sasuke in a forced tone, his voice as calm as usual. Shut up, Tem. I was only trying to lighten the mood here. And at least I'm not scared of that forest like you, growled Naruto, quite annoyed with the I'm better than you attitude of the last Uchiha. Watch what you say, loser. I'm an Uchiha, an elite who has already awakened the Sharingan at such a young age. You don't even have a bloodline limit, said Sasuke smugly with an arrogant smirk making Naruto grit his teeth. Yeah, watch what you say, Naruto baka, Sasuke-kun is way better than you, said Sakura as she defended her crush, making the blonde sigh inwardly. It was always like this way. He would try to make some kind of a conversation with his teammates and it always resulted in backfiring at him. And when we need teamwork the most, thought the blonde Jinchuriki bitterly before he retorted back, he couldn't just have his rival always have the last words after all. I'll show you that I'm way better than you, Sasuke. Just you wait, I'm gonna pass the second exam like creating a shadow clone. This forest of air, whatever it is, it doesn't scare me one little bit, said Naruto loudly while thumping his thumb at his puffed-out chest, a determined smile on his face. Whoosh! Suddenly a kunai whipped past Naruto's face, cutting his cheek slightly, the sound of the metallic weapon cutting through air reverberating in his eardrums. The blonde yelped in surprise when he felt the tip of a kunai against his neck, a soft tongue licking the blood off his cheek. Your blood tastes good, Gaki, whispered Anko Mitarashi in a seductive tone, a sadistic smirk on her face as she had appeared behind him with a shunshin. Naruto though had his eyes wide, her warm hands on his cheek combined with her seductive soft voice made a certain part of his anatomy twitch in response, heat reaching his cheeks as he gulped in a little bit of fear. This Proctor is crazy. Just looking at that smirk scares the shit out of me, thought Naruto, honestly creeped out as he tried to get out of her grip. However, it would seem she was holding him to herself with an iron grip, her generous bust squishing against his back making his blush grow darker in shade. Be careful what you say, Genin-chan, these 5 days may be the worst days of your life, said a smiling Anko loudly, making the other contestants gulp in fear while Naruto's expression darkened upon hearing her. I doubt that, I've had worse days in my life. Besides, I entered this forest when I was 6 and spent a month in there due to the orphanage kicking me out, so scare other contestants with this bullshit, whispered Naruto a bit angrily, his voice low so that only the snake mistress could hear him. Anko's face though saddened after hearing him. She knew he held the Kyuubi, she was one of the few people who didn't see him as the prisoner, rather its jailer. She knew what the boy must feel every day, having to fight that demon to keep it at bay every second of his life, having to withstand the glares of the pathetic villagers, having to be made fun of his dream of becoming Hokage. After all, she too held the curse seal thanks to that snake bastard, having nightmares every day, sometimes the curse seal acting on its own, sending bolts of pain throughout her body, having to be called names like snake whore or snake bitch. It hurt very much and she knew that pain with every fiber of her being. Anko wore the mask of some psychotic kunoichi enjoying torturing people, but that was far from truth though, because every time she interrogated someone, she would just imagine the face of Orochimaru in front of her and would start torturing like there was no tomorrow. She always followed Naruto whenever she had time, helping him from the mob of villagers who would beat and pick on him, but by transforming into an Anbu. She feared that he would treat her like every villager, so keeping distance from him was the best choice she could come up with. And besides, even if she wanted to meet him, she couldn't. The Hokage had prohibited from meeting him after all, along with her other 3 best friends. She liked the boy's attitude, never giving up, never backing down from any challenge, having the strength to pick himself up whenever he failed. He was the only inspiration for her that kept her going, or she would have committed suicide a long time ago from pain the villagers caused her. More importantly, the Snake Sanin's apprentice along with her friends were the only one who knew of the mask the boy wore, not even the Sandame knew about it. Also, over the years she had developed a crush on the boy, so latching onto any chance she got of any physical contact with him was in her must-do checklist, like one at the present. Naruto-kun, you should drop that mask of yours, you cannot fool me, whispered Anko, letting her mask slip for a second, making Naruto freeze at the spot, his eyes widening. Wah, said the blonde in pure shock that someone had seen through him. I said Dro. She was interrupted when a Kusa-nin appeared behind her, surprising her that a genin was able to sneak up to a prodigy Junin like her. I think this is your kunai Proctor-san, muttered the Kusa-nin with a hiss in his voice, returning the kunai to Anko with his tongue in a sickly manner, making her grin back at him, her mask back on her face. Why thank you Genin-san. Oh, and if you want to live, you might wanna reconsider sneaking up on me again, said Anko in an sickly sweet tone, inwardly fuming that this brat had interrupted their conversation. My apologies, Proctor-san, muttered the Kusa-nin as he slipped back away. On the other hand, Naruto was lost in his own thoughts. How could she have seen through me so easily? This is insane, we have only met. Even Gigi doesn't know about it. After the Kusa-nin went back to his team, Anko leaned forward to whisper in his ear, take care Naruto-kun, and you better come out of this alive, before shining to in front of the genin. Alright maggots, I've already explained the rules and each team has a scroll. Get in front of your assigned gates in 10 minutes, spoke Anko loudly, reverting to the bad Kunoichi personality. Naruto just stood there, too shocked to move. And also, did she just call me Naruto-kun? Hey Dobi, what are you spacing off about? Don't tell me you're having second thoughts about this exam, said Sasuke while smirking. Shut up Tem, growled Naruto with an irritated expression on his face. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned around to see a blushing Hinata. Huh, Hinata, what are you doing here? Seeing she was red, he asked, are you okay? Your face is all red, you don't have a fever, do you? Here, let me check, uttered Naruto as he put the back of his hand on her forehead. How can that idiot be so dense? Thought Sakura with an exasperated sigh. What a loser, thought Sasuke while shaking his head. Hinata blushed furiously upon the contact and invented a new shade of red as she started to sway. No, I cannot faint, I have to do this for Naruto-kun, thought Hinata. Naruto-kun, here, this is F for Y your ch cheek, she murmured, blushing at the mention of Naruto's cheek before handing him her self-made healing ointment. For me, thanks Hinata, exclaimed Naruto while applying the ointment on his cheek, healing the cut instantly due to Kyuubi's chakra. Wow, that's so cool. Did you made this Hinata? The blonde asked as he had never seen a medicine like this before. He knew almost all of the healing ointments due to several trips to the hospitals, courtesy of the villagers of course. Why yes, replied Hinata shyly. Man, you're amazing Hinata, the whiskered blonde exclaimed with his trademark foxy grin. Seeing her cute blushing face, he couldn't help but comment though. You know Hinata, you actually look cute. You know, blushing and all, verbalized Naruto while laughing nervously as he rubbed the back of his head. Thud. Oi, Hinata, are you alright? Oi, wake up, the second exam is about to start. Articulated Naruto frantically, not knowing what was wrong with her. Kami-sama, how can he be so dense? He was flirting with her without even realizing it. Sometimes, I really feel for Hinata, thought Sakura. Kiba and Shino arrived to see Hinata lying on the floor, blushing up a storm even though she was unconscious. Her face twisted into a smile as if she had just experienced a mind-numbing orgasm. Kiba sighed. Don't worry Naruto, we'll take over from here. Is she alright? The blonde asked, worry etched on his face. Don't worry Uzumaki-san, she just fainted from excitement and anxiety, answered Shino in his monotone voice. Oh, okay. Well, good luck to you guys. Thanks, see you at the tower idiot, replied Kiba confidently with a smirk. You bet dog breath, replied Naruto making Kiba growl at the nickname. Sakura giggled lightly to herself whereas Sasuke had a smirk on his face. Okay Dobi, let's go, uttered the Uchiha while walking towards their assigned gate. Alright maggots, time to go wild. At the count of 3, the gates will be opened. Oh, and one last advice before you go. Don't die, said Enko while putting on the most bad look she could muster. One common thought running through all the genin except Gaara, she's scary. Yeah, even Neji even though he's a stuck-up Hyuga. Alright, get ready. 1, 2, shouted Enko, pausing dramatically as the genin waited with bated breath. Meh, get outta here, spoke Enko with a bored expression on her face, doing the shoo motion with her hands. All the genin sweat dropped, already past the gate as they dashed into the dense foliage. Team 7, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura blurred through the gate, opting to go through the trees due to possibility of traps on the ground. After some time, Akusa Nin, you know he's Orochimaru, so no point in creating suspense. I'm gonna use Orochimaru. After this instead of Kusa Enin started following them after easily dispatching his supposed teammates. Soon Sasuke-kun, I will obtain your Sharingan, thought Orochimaru while grinning like a maniac. After 3 hours of traveling, Sasuke saw a clearing ahead with his Sharingan. Stop, he ordered with a serious expression. What's the matter? Is someone ahead of us Sasuke-kun? Asked Sakura with some worry and anxiety visible on her face. There's a clearing ahead of us. We've been traveling for 3 hours now, we should take a break, he suggested with a sigh. Who told you were the leader Sasuke-tem? Growled Naruto with a scowl on his face. Shut up Naruto baka. He's right, Sakura interrupted sternly while Sasuke smirked victoriously. Naruto however gritted his teeth in anger. If it wasn't for my mask, I would have slapped this pink-haired bitch. One day Sasuke, I will show you what I'm truly capable of. Just you wait. Alright, let's go, the Uchiha uttered smugly while Sakura followed him. Swoosh. As soon as Sasuke and Sakura landed in the clearing, a huge gust of wind approached them at high speeds. Sasuke's eyes went wide when he saw Chakra in the wind with his Sharingan copy wheel eye. Sakura! Naruto! Shouted Sasuke while himself in the process. Sakura barely dodged the powerful current while Naruto couldn't dodge due him being in midair when he was just about to land. Oh shit! Thought Naruto before he was swept away by the strong tide of wind, blown away from the clearing. The blonde skidded across the ground, far from the clearing before coming to a halt. That was a Chunin level wind jutsu with a high amount of chakra in it which no genin should possess except me. The one who attacked us is clearly a Chunin level or above. I have to warn Sasuke and Sakura before they get themselves killed, thought Naruto with a grim expression on his face. Just as he was about to head back to the clearing, a huge snake attacked him. He jumped high in air just in time to dodge the snake as it had lunged forward, intending to eat him. Phew, that was close. If it weren't for my keen senses due to Kyuubi, I probably would have been eaten. Clearly this snake is a summon and if my hunch is correct, it's sent by the one who attacked us. Meaning he's after Sasuke as he's the one having Sharingan, the last Uchiha while Sakura doesn't have anything special. He wants to keep me busy for some time. I better hurry, don't have any time to play, the blonde pondered, landing on a branch in crouched position as he stared at the large reptile with narrowed eyes. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow clone technique, he mumbled, creating 10 shadow clones. Alright guys, I know you're gonna hate me for this, but you have to be eaten by that snake, said Naruto, making the clones erupt in an outrage. What? Are you crazy? There's no way I'm going in that shithole, yelled a shadow clone while pointing his index finger at the snake. Yeah, if you wanna do it that badly, why don't you go in there? Asked another shadow clone in curiosity. At this, Naruto's eyebrows twitched as he took a deep breath. I'm the real one. So there's no point in me getting killed if I can use you. Now get hell outta here, you lazy bastards, or no ramen for you. All the shadow clones paled at this as they jumped towards the snake without any second thoughts. You're gonna pay for this, yelled a clone in midair. As soon as they landed in front of the snake, it immediately leapt forward, eating all of them in a swipe. Naruto grinned as he went through 3 hand seals before exclaiming, Kage Bunshin Bakua no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Explosion Technique. Immediately, the snake's stomach began to glow red, increasing in size until BHSHOOM. It exploded in a huge blast, its body fluids spraying all around the area. I really pity my clones, muttered Naruto, disgusted by the scene in front of him. I should get going, he spoke to himself before leaping in the direction of clearing where his team was. Sasuke and Sakura. After Naruto was blown away, Sasuke and Sakura had some bruises but nothing life-threatening. The Uchiha stood up, brushing the dust of him as he looked around for the attacker. Hello Sasuke-kun, greeted Orochimaru, suddenly landing in front of the duo. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened upon seeing the same Kusa-nin from before. You are that Kusa-nin who returned the kunai to the proctor, the pink-haired genin pointed out in realization. Why yes, little girl, and I know you guys have the Heaven Scroll in your possession, said Orochimaru. How did you? The Uchiha trailed at the end in surprise. So, you genin want the Earth Scroll, huh? Asked the Snake Sannin with a smirk, showing them the Earth Scroll before gulping it down his throat. Sakura almost threw up at seeing the sick display. If you want it, you'll have to fight me, Sasuke-kun, the Sannin hissed while grinning, leaking large amounts of chakra. Sasuke and Sakura were immediately brought down to their knees, not being able to withstand the pressure as they panted due to the strain. This guy is way above genin level. We can't defeat him. We'll have to get outta here, thought the Uchiha in alarm. Orochimaru lowered his killing intent, wanting to fight the Uchiha. Both the Team 7's members were now breathing hard due to much needed oxygen as they struggled to calm themselves down. Sakura, when I say, we will retreat, spoke Sasuke shakily, with Sakura agreeing with him, seeing that they could not handle this Kusa genin. Come on Sasuke-kun, don't tell me the last Uchiha is just a lowly genin, mocked Orochimaru, trying to rile up the last Uchiha. Sakura, now, yelled Sasuke as the duo started to run in the opposite direction as fast as they could. So, you're weaker than Itachi after all, nay Sasuke-kun. Upon hearing this, Sasuke stopped dead in his tracks. Well, that worked, thought the Sannin in amusement. What did you say? Growled Sasuke with barely contained rage in his voice. You are weaker than Itachi, Sasuke-kun. At your age, he was in Anbu while you still are a lowly genin. You have 2 tomos in your Sharingan while Itachi's Sharingan had fully matured by now. You are nothing compared to Itachi, Sasuke-kun. You'll never be able to beat him and avenge your family. Even Naruto-kun is stronger than you. This made the Uchiha see red as he clenched his fists, gritting his teeth while glaring at the Sannin with his eyes blazing with Sharingan. Exclamation mark. I'm going to kill you, shouted a raging Sasuke as he dashed towards Orochimaru, eyes ablaze with his clan's dujutsu, hate clearly evident in his eyes at the mention of Itachi and Naruto being stronger than him. Sasuke-kun, no, shouted Sakura, her plea falling on deaf ears. Upon reaching him, Sasuke went through a flurry of punches and kicks, going all out. Frontal attacks like these won't work, Sasuke-kun, spoke a smirking Orochimaru, fluently dodging Sasuke's every single strike like a snake. Sasuke went for a right uppercut when Orochimaru flipped backwards, landing gracefully before dashing forward again. He aimed a blurred kick at Sasuke's midsection, who dodged it barely before jumped backwards using chakra beneath his feet. If it wasn't for your Sharingan, you would have the air knocked out of you, Sasuke-kun, the Sannin mocked with a cold chuckle, making Sasuke growl, frustrated that he was not able to land even a single blow on him. Let's move this up a notch, shall we? Uttered the snake Sannin, the smirk ever present on his face. Sasuke's eyes widened when Orochimaru disappeared from his view. Wham! He felt an immense pain at his rib section, currently flying back at high speeds before crashing into the bark of a tree, getting the wind knocked out of him courtesy of the Chunin appearing out of nowhere to deliver a powerful kick to his ribs. Sasuke spat some blood from his mouth, trying to stand as his legs wobbled a bit. What was that? I didn't see him move even with my Sharingan, and his kick felt stronger than even Kakashi-sensei's, thought Sasuke in surprise. You are a disappointment, Sasuke-kun. Do you really think you can kill Itachi at this level? It wouldn't even take him 5 seconds to beat you like this, the Sannin again mocked with a neutral expression on his face. Are you alright, Sasuke-kun? Asked a worried Sakura. She turned her head to glare at Orochimaru for hurting her crush like that. You want something, little girl? Asked Orochimaru in amusement, never leaving his eyes off Sasuke. How dare you hurt Sasuke-kun like that, you bastard? Yelled an angry Sakura. She dashed towards Orochimaru with a kunai in her hands, intending on killing him. She tried to slash him on the chest when Orochimaru easily dodged her sloppy attack, delivered a crushing blow to her stomach. Ah! Sakura was sent flying backwards as she skidded on the ground to a halt, blood dripping down her chin. You are a pathetic excuse for a kunoichi, you lowly genin. Your attacks are academy level at best. Kaden. Gukaku no Jutsu. Fire release. Grand Fireball Jutsu, yelled Sasuke after going through a couple of hand signs, sending a huge fireball towards Orochimaru. It hit him dead on, resulting in the area getting covered with fire where Orochimaru was previously standing. Sasuke smirked while panting as he had spent a lot of chakra on that last attack. That'll teach him to mess with an Uchiha, he thought smugly, a confident expression on his face. After the smoke cleared, Orochimaru stood there with 3-degree burns while the skin on his face was currently torn off to reveal a pale skin, eyes yellow with slitted pupils. Sasuke's eyes widened as he saw his face. What is he? Nice try, Sasuke-kun, but you'll have to do more than just basic jutsus, said a laughing Orochimaru before dissolving into mud. What? A mud clone? Thought Sasuke while frantically searching for the Chunin with his Sharingan. Sasuke-kun. Behind you, yelled an injured Sakura, making his eyes widened upon hearing her. You shouldn't let your enemies get behind you, Sasuke-kun, whispered Orochimaru in Sasuke's ear from behind. The Uchiha quickly turned around to receive a bone-shattering punch to his face as he was sent flying back. He flipped several times in midair due to force of the punch, rolling roughly on the ground before skidding to a halt. He could now feel several of his bones crack due to his roughly landing, coughing more blood along some teeth. Sasuke-kun, are you alright? Yelled a worried Sakura. Does it look like I'm alright? He shouted back in frustration, wiping the blood off his chin. Let me ask you, do you want power, Sasuke-kun? Asked Orochimaru with a serious expression on his face now. What? Stuttered Sasuke, taken aback by what he was hearing. I can grant you power beyond imagination, Sasuke-kun, the snake Sannin continued. Who are you? Asked Sasuke, clearly terrified of this mysterious entity. Orochimaru peeled off the Kusa Genin's skin to show his pale complexion face. My name is Orochimaru, of the legendary Sannin, he answered, a grave expression on his face. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened upon hearing this. No doubt we were no match for him. He's a freaking Sannin, thought Sasuke, having read about them in the academy. He must be the traitor the textbooks didn't mention about, thought Sakura in realization. What do you want with me? The Uchiha asked shakily. You'll know in due time, Sasuke-kun. For now, I'll leave you a parting gift, said Orochimaru with a smirk before his neck elongated to impossible lengths. giving Sasuke a hickey, air bit him on the side neck before retracting his head. Sasuke screamed in pure agony, clutching his neck with his hand before falling on the ground unconscious. 3 black tomos forming a circle could be seen where Orochimaru bit Sasuke, indicating a heaven's curse seal. "What did you do to Sasuke-kun, you freak?" shouted a horrified Sakura. "Just a little gift. In time, he'll seek me for more power. Now, it's time for you to die, you annoying pest," spoke Orochimaru before dashing towards Sakura, intent on killing her, making her eyes widen in fear. Orochimaru was halfway through when a kunai attacked with a paper bomb landed just in front on him, though at a safe distance from Sakura. A paper bomb, thought Orochimaru. Boom. Before shining backwards just in time to avoid the blast. "Looks like I made it just in time," spoke Naruto, currently standing on tree branch above Sakura. "Naruto, what took you so long?" yelled a relieved Sakura, happy to see the blonde for the first time in her life. "I had to take care of an annoying pest, courtesy of our friend Orochimaru here," the blonde uttered as he landed in front on Sakura, who was still lying on the ground due to being injured. "Ah, Naruto-kun, I was beginning to think you died out there. But I'm curious, how did you know I'm Orochimaru? I'm pretty sure the academy doesn't tell about me except Jiraiya and Tsunade, and you were not here when I told Sasuke-kun," asked Orochimaru, intrigued by the Jinchuriki. "Well, your pale snake-like face is a dead giveaway, and Gigi told me about you too," the whiskered blonde answered. "Oh, and who is this Gigi of yours?" asked Orochimaru in amusement. "It doesn't concern you, snake face. What did you do to Sasuke?" asked Naruto with narrowed eyes. "He's just unconscious as he couldn't take me on. I'm hoping for a better challenge from you, Naruto-kun," the Sannin verbalized with a cold, playful smirk. "I am no match for him. I have to stall him and hope the guards around here were alerted due to such high amount of chakra he used in that wind jutsu," thought Naruto with a grim expression on his face. "What are you waiting for, Naruto-kun? Don't tell me you're scared," mocked Orochimaru, amused by the Jinchuriki's lack of answer. "Shadow clones and exploding shadow clones wouldn't work against a Sannin. Guess I have to use that style, although it's quite risky. But it can stall him for some time due to the element of surprise," thought Naruto, beads of sweat rolling down his forehead as he closed his eyes. "Alright, Naruto-kun, if you just want to stand there, then allow me to ki." Orochimaru stopped when he saw red chakra start to leak out of Naruto, his hair becoming more spikier, his whiskers more defined now, eyes turning from cerulean blue to crimson red with black slits in the middle, while his nails and canines became elongated, pointed at the edges. The ground he was standing on cracked under the pressure of demonic chakra, creating a small crater, greatly shocking the snake Sannin. How is this boy intentionally using the Kyuubi's chakra? It's not possible for any Jinchuriki to control a Bijuu's chakra at such a young age. This boy is supposed to be the dead last of his generation. How can he control the bloodlust that the Kyuubi is emitting right now? Still, he's no match for me, but the power he's radiating is at least mid-Chunin level. It's a relief I created a sound and chakra barrier around this clearing, or else everyone in the village would have sensed the foul chakra. I suspected the boy to use a bit of Kyuubi's chakra, but not like this. Thought Orochimaru, clearly amazed by the Jinchuriki. This chakra, I've felt it before in the wave country while we were on the bridge. It feels so dark and evil. How can Naruto have 2 types of chakra? Normal chakra is blue and barely visible, yet this chakra is red and clearly visible. Naruto, what are you hiding from us? Thought Sakura in wonder. Alright, I cannot remain in this state for long. I have to stall him for as long as possible, thought Naruto with gritted teeth. Alright, you bastard, you want a better challenge, that's what you will get. Exclaimed Naruto in a demonic tone, getting down on all fours with one tail of red chakra waving behind him. He dashed towards Orochimaru at such speeds that even Rock Lee would have hard time following him with his weights off and third celestial gate open. To Sakura, he was a blur. Orochimaru was surprised by his speed but quickly composed himself as he met the Jinchuriki in a clash, locking both of his hands with Naruto's, forming a crater beneath them due to the force of the impact. For a boy, his strength is amazing, even for a Jinchuriki, thought Orochimaru, surprised at the blonde's strength. The Sanin's eyes widened when he saw the red chakra tail coming towards him. He immediately down, although barely releasing the hand's lock in the process. Naruto used his tail to support himself on the ground while he was in midair and went for a kick at Orochimaru's face. The Sanin caught his leg and hurled him upwards. Naruto regained his balance while in midair and placed his foot on a tree's bark. Using it as a springboard, he launched himself at high speeds towards Orochimaru while forming a hand sign, crisscross. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu! Exclaimed Naruto as 10 shadow clones appeared, each having the same chakra cloak and heading onto a collision course with Orochimaru along with the original. Orochimaru smirked as he just stood there. Fuden. Kukiburasuto no Jutsu, wind release. Air blast technique, he muttered, firing a concentrated blast of wind-natured chakra towards Naruto and his clones. Poof. NNGH. All his clones were dispelled instantly while he was sent flying back. Wham! The blonde slammed into a rock boulder, his eyes widening in pain. He didn't even use any hand seals for that jutsu. I have to resort to taijutsu. I'm no match for him in ninjutsu and I don't any genjutsu, thought Naruto while standing up shakily, the chakra cloak still covering him. I'm surprised you can stand after that blow, Naruto-kun, spoke Orochimaru, deeply impressed by the boy's endurance. Naruto said nothing as he dashed towards the snake Sanin, again engaging him in a fierce taijutsu battle. They were a blur to Sakura as they traded blows with each other, punch for punch, kick for kick, sending strong currents of winds throughout the clearing. Sakura was bracing herself from the violent winds, still lying on the ground. I can't even see them. Was Naruto always this strong? Sasuke-kun is no match for him. Am I the weak link of our team? Thought Sakura, now regretting every time she hit Naruto and thought of him as annoying on the line to save her or she would have died a while ago. Naruto winced when he felt his muscles straining under the pressure of Kyuubi's chakra. I can't last for much longer now. It's now or never, the blonde thought as he jumped back to create some distance between him and Orochimaru. Alright, here we go. Demonic Fox Claw, muttered Naruto to himself. I've never heard of a style with that name, thought Orochimaru in curiosity. Naruto opened his fists and crouched his fingers making claw-like hands because of his elongated nails. His one arm was in front of him while the other was behind him, pointing it upwards making an approximately 30-degree angle with the horizontal. His knees were slightly bent, demonic chakra Yuki concentrated on his nails which were now a denser red in color, thus settling into his taijutsu stance. He then dashed towards Orochimaru on all fours and upon reaching, unleashed a flurry of claw strikes with a fox's agility. What is he doing? He's only trying to slash me. His nails cannot do enough physical damage, thought Orochimaru while dodging his strikes. Meanwhile, Sakura had slipped into unconsciousness due to fatigue and her injuries. When one of Naruto's nails slightly slashed one of Orochimaru's hands, Naruto smirked and flipped backwards. What's so funny, brat? Asked the Sanin with a raised eyebrow, getting annoyed with the Jinchuriki. Let me tell you the essence of my taijutsu style. You would be dying anyway. This style is only useful if someone has demonic chakra. A Biju's chakra is poisonous to human body but has less effect on a Jinchuriki himself as they get adapted to it. I concentrate my Yuki at my hands and if my nails cuts someone even the slightest bit, then the demonic chakra enters the system of the victim. Meaning when my claw slashed your skin, the Yuki entered your system and is currently working like a poison. This is just like the gentle fist, meaning even the slightest contact is deadly. However, I only need one successful strike unlike the gentle fist in which chakra points are closed one by one, thus my style is more deadly without the need of accuracy and precision. Hence the name Demonic Fox Claw, explained Naruto with a proud and a confident smirk on his face. Orochimaru was shocked to the core by the deadliness of this taijutsu and only had one thought running through his mind. This boy is a genius. One thing which I didn't tell him is that style requires large amount of Kyuubi's chakra and hence every time I use it, it puts huge strain on my muscles and my lifespan is shortened considerably. Its use is very limited, thought Naruto with a sigh. Orochimaru, however, could feel the poisonous chakra acting and disrupting his normal body functioning and chakra coils. Well, Naruto-kun, your taijutsu may be invincible but not against me, said Orochimaru while smirking. What? His question was answered when Orochimaru's upper body started to become like a balloon and his mouth opened to an impossible size from which another Orochimaru extruded, dripping with saliva. Naruto's jaw dropped to the ground in shock. This guy is a freak, he thought in horror. Suddenly the blonde started to feel immense pain as he was on his knees, coughing more blood while red chakra began to recede back into his body. Damn, several of my muscles have been torn. I can't even stand properly. He mused to himself, the Biju's red chakra now completely dissipated. Guess your body couldn't handle any more of the Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru verbalized with an amused smirk. How can you still be street standing? Asked Naruto, who was currently writhing in pain. I can regenerate my whole body if it gets damaged, still, it does take a lot of chakra. Why do you think I've been doing human experiments all these years? He asked in a proud tone. Why, you're sick, spat Naruto, his one eye closed as he gritted his teeth in pain. Orochimaru walked towards Naruto before picking the blonde by his throat. Well, you clearly gave a better fight, a much better fight, Naruto-kun. It's time to end this though, the Sannin declared with a grim expression on his face, lifting Naruto's orange jumpsuit to reveal Jinchuriki's stomach with a spiral-like seal. Oh oi, please don't rape me, said a horrified Naruto as Chibi Naruto ran in his mindscape while screaming, he's gonna take our virginity, run for your lives. Orochimaru's sweat dropped while his eyebrows twitched. I'm not raping you, brat. What do you think, I am a gay? Said an annoyed Orochimaru. Naruto tilted his head to the side in genuine confusion, yeah. Arg, that's it, brat. I will seal the Kyuubi's chakra so you can't use that taijutsu of yours since it depends so much on your Yuki. Exclaimed Orochimaru while his right hand's fingertips started to glow with blue chakra, each having a different kanji, whereas Naruto's eyes widened in fear. It's over, Gaki, stated Orochimaru, thrusting his hand towards Naruto's stomach. Gogyo Fu, just as his hand was about to connect to Naruto's stomach, it was grabbed by a larger hand. Orochimaru looked up for his eyes to widen in mind-boggling shock. Standing at the side, holding his hand was a large man, wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it. His complexion was pale blue, pointed teeth and gills-like features on his cheeks. On his forehead was a Karigakur's protector with a slash in the middle, marking him as a missing nin. A large sword was bandaged in white wrappings on his back. Kisame? Asked Orochimaru, not believing his eyes. Orochimaru, long time no see, exclaimed a grinning Kisame Hoshigaki, one of the strongest members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. The legendary Rinnegan awakens. Orochimaru, long time no see, said Kisame, having a maniacal grin on his face. Kisame, what the hell are you doing here? Asked a shell-shocked Orochimaru. I'm hurt, Orochimaru. Aren't you happy to see me? Mocked Kisame. Orochimaru growled before dissolving into mud, dropping Naruto onto the ground and reforming a distance away. Ah, damn snake, my hands are all muddy now, said Kisame, waving his hand. Naruto's sweat dropped while thinking, great. Another nutcase. Who are you? Asked Naruto while trying to stand, dismissing him as a possible enemy as he saved him one way or the other. Stay down if you want to live, brat, said Kisame while standing in front of Naruto facing Orochimaru with a serious aura surrounding him. How can Akatsuki be here? My spies informed me that they won't take any move for some years. And if Kisame is here, then he must be. It's been a while, Orochimaru. Orochimaru's thoughts were interrupted when he heard an all too familiar voice baying him, sending chills down his spine. He whipped his head to come face to face with a man around his height in his early 20s, wearing same black cloak with red clouds as Kisame, his face like an elder version of Sasuke, black onyx eyes and hair, an emotionless face and a leaf protector with a slash on the middle on his forehead indicating he too was a missing nin. Itachi, said a shocked Orochimaru. Kisame, would you mind keeping Orochimaru busy for some time, said Itachi in his cold emotionless tone. Upon hearing him, Kisame's grin widened. Sure, I've been itching to fight anyway, said Kisame while unwrapping the white bandages showing a large sword with metallic spikes in his hands. I'm sure you haven't forgotten about Samahata, shark skin. It's been hungry for some delicious chakra for some time now, said Kisame while walking towards Orochimaru leisurely. Itachi shunshine to where a shocked Naruto was. Why you're Itachi, Uchiha Itachi? The one who slaughtered his entire clan in one night and Sasuke's brother, asked a scared Naruto knowing that he was no match for the Uchiha prodigy. Itachi just stared impassively at Naruto. Damn, I've got to get out of here. I've already done what I came here for. I can take on Kisame using Kusanagi, grass cutter, but Itachi is out of the question, thought Orochimaru before dissolving into a large tree's trunk baying him. Where the hell do you think you're going, you snake bastard? Yelled Kisame dashing towards the tree where Orochimaru dissolved. Leave him, Kisame. He's a master of camouflage jutsu, there's no point in chasing him. He's already gone past the barrier. Besides, we came here for Naruto-kun, said Itachi. Fine, but next time I see that snake, I'm gonna shove Samahata up his, growled Kisame. What do you want with me? Asked Naruto fearing for his life. Itachi closed his eyes to reveal a fully evolved Sharingan, 3 tomos in each eyes which turned into a black shuriken. There's a 4th stage to Sharingan, thought a gaping Naruto. This is Mangekyo Sharingan, kaleidoscope copy wheel eye, Naruto-kun, said Itachi as if reading his thoughts. Are you here to kill me? Said Naruto, who was scared shitless now and in pain due to his muscles being teared. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, Naruto-kun, but this is the only way, said Itachi, regret visible in his eyes as he stared into Naruto's eyes. Tsukiyomi, goddess of the moon, Naruto's eyes widened as the world around him faded. World of Tsukiyomi. He noticed that he was tied to a cross-like post, sky blood red with a moon. In front of him stood Itachi with a wakizashi. This is the world of Tsukiyomi where I control everything. For the next 72 hours I will kill the people you care most about in front of you repeatedly until you awaken it, said Itachi. Awaken what? Said a confused Naruto. Itachi said nothing as Hiruzen Sarutobi appeared in front of Naruto. Gigi, what are you doing here? Get out of here, yelled Naruto. I've always thought of you as my grandson Naruto-kun, said the aged Hokage with serene smile on his face. Itachi starting moving towards the Sandaime Hokage. I know, but we don't have time for this. Itachi is right behind you, yelled Naruto getting restless by the second as Itachi approached the Hokage. When Itachi reached him, he lifted the wakizashi. No, Gigi, behind you. Itachi, I swear if you even tou. Naruto was cut off as blood splattered all over his face, the beheaded Hokage's head falling at Itachi's feet in a pool of blood. Tears started pouring out of Naruto's eyes as his mind went into overdrive. Why you killed him? Why you killed my Gigi? I'm going to kill you, bastard. Naruto, tears freely leaking out of his eyes as he violently thrashed against the invisible bindings trying to break free. Then suddenly Ayame and Tsuki appeared in front of Naruto. Naruto-kun, I've always considered you my Otudo, said Ayame with a sweet smile on her face. Hey kid, ramen's on the house today, said Tsuki offering him a bowl of ramen. Oh no, 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 not you too, Ayame ne-chan, Oji-san. Please Kami no, shouted Naruto desperately trying to break free. Naruto tried to close his eyes but found that he couldn't. Once again, he was forced to watch as Tsuki and Ayame were beheaded in front of Naruto, blood again splattered all over Naruto and Itachi, the ramen mixing with the pool of blood. No, please, stop it, I beg you. If you want to kill me, just get it over with, cried Naruto in desperation, tears rolling down his blood-laced face, not being able to bear to see his loved one die. I'm sorry Naruto-kun, but I have to do this. Kushina sensei, I will not fail your son unlike Hitaki, thought Itachi. Itachi winced as he saw the murderous glare Naruto was giving him. His eyes full of hatred and disgust. I hope he does not walk the same path which my idiot of a brother took, thought Itachi, apparently disappointed in his brother, for he was walking the same path all the Uchihas in the past took. Superiority practically was Sasuke's middle name. Well, back to Itachi's torture session. Naruto's eyes widened when a person appeared he really didn't want to be killed. Naruto-kun, I'll love you, said a sweetly smiling Hinata with a cute blush on her face. Naruto was shocked upon hearing the confession. He was not surprised by the confession itself, but rather how Itachi knew she loved him. How did you know? Asked Naruto, staring at Itachi's, his eyes red and cheeks stained due to a mixture of blood and tears. I did not know, Naruto-kun. Tsukiyomi automatically reads the mind of the victim, finding the ones he cares most about or loves deeply, said Itachi, glancing at Hinata while saying the last part. Yes, Naruto knew Hinata loved him and loved her very much, even though he acted like a dense idiot. It was just a part of his mask to act like a moron, being oblivious to Hinata's feelings. Due to his heightened senses, he could easily feel the presence of Hinata every time she followed him. What Hinata didn't know was that sometimes Naruto followed her too, curious to know about his stalker, what she liked, what she disliked, her hobbies, etc., and over time fell in love with her. He loved her smile, her kindness, her scent, her lavender eyes, her blue hair, everything about her. She was the purest soul he knew. And now to watch her get killed in front of him, he could not even bear to think about it. Damn it. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan, said Naruto while fresh tears leaked from his eyes. I couldn't protect my precious ones. What good of a Hokage would I become? Said Naruto in a heartbroken tone, like his world was shattered in front of him. It's over for her, Naruto-kun, said Itachi as his sword pierced throat Hinata's heart, instantly killing her. Blood oozed out of Hinata's mouth, light leaving her eyes as her body dropped in a pool of blood and laid there motionless. Naruto's face went blank as his mind still couldn't believe that his Hinata-chan was now dead. A few moments later, seemingly never-ending tears started falling from his face. Hinata-chan is dead, thought Naruto over and over again. A few moments later, pure white chakra started leaking out of Naruto's body, forming a chakra cloak around him. Itachi smirked at seeing the white chakra. Great. It worked. He's awakening it. Our plan. His thoughts were interrupted by an ear-deafening scream. Arg, what are you doing to me, you bastard? My eyes, head, my whole body hurts, screamed Naruto, who was violently thrashing around the invisible posts he was tied to. I'd better end Tsukiyomi now. I have to preserve as much chakra as I can, for we need to come back here in a few minutes, thought Itachi before ending the genjutsu. Outside the clearing, Kisame had no idea what was going on. 1 second, Itachi and the blonde brat were standing, and the next, white chakra was leaking out of the brat's body while he was screaming in pain. Tsukiyomi is not supposed to do that, is it? Itachi. What the hell is going on? And what is that white chakra? I thought the chakra is supposed to red or blue in color. Wasn't he supposed to awaken the Rinnegan, ocular eye? Asked Kisame. Calm down, Kisame. It's part of the process. Remember that Rinnegan is a very powerful dojutsu, even powerful than Sharingan and Byakugan, so the process of awakening it is very painful, said Itachi while he winced when the screams of Naruto got even louder. It's a good thing that I covered this area in a high-level genjutsu and a double-layer soundproof barrier. No one should be able to interrupt us for a while, thought Itachi. In case of Naruto, he had never felt so much pain in his life. Every inch of his body was hurting, he felt like his head and mainly his eyes were put on fire. He could feel large amount of chakra flowing through his coils, straining them, increasing their size, his muscles being torn apart and new ones being formed. Itachi and Kisame were awed by the display of power by Naruto, although he was doing it unintentionally. His white chakra completely surrounding his body, a small crater had formed on the ground just by the force of chakra, releasing powerful gusts of winds, dust particles, pebbles and large chunks of earth were rotating around Naruto in midair. Some trees were uprooted by the force of wind. Sasuke and Sakura, who were unconscious, skidded back several meters. Itachi and Kisame had to apply chakra to their feet to keep themselves still. Their eyes were closed and arms in front of their faces to brace themselves properly. Damn, this Gaki has one hell of a chakra. How much longer, Itachi? Yelled Kisame. Just a bit longer, Kisame, Itachi shouted back. Kisame's eyes widened upon hearing Itachi. Did Itachi just shout? Nah, I must be hallucinating because of the chakra, thought Kisame. Hey Itachi, did you just shout? Are you alright? Yelled Kisame. Itachi's eyebrows twitched at hearing him. Shutup Kisame, said an annoyed Itachi. What? I can't hear you, shouted Kisame, not being able to hear due to ear-deafening screams Naruto was making. A vein popped on Itachi's forehead. I said shut the hell up, Kisame, shouted Itachi. Whoa, you shouted again and cursed too. Itachi, I think the last Tsuki Yomi messed up your head, Kisame shouted back. By now Itachi was fuming and his face was so red that you could think he was blushing like Hinata. Author's notes. What if Itachi and Kisame acted like Hinata and Naruto? K Kisame K-kun, I'll love you, said Hinata Itachi. I love you too, Itachi-chan dadbayo, said a grinning Naruto-ish Kisame in an orange jumpsuit. Imagine Kisame in that retarded jumpsuit, it's hilarious. Author's notes end. Kisame immediately stopped his ranting when he saw the shuriken blades of Mangekyo Sharingan spinning wildly as Itachi glared at him. Itachi and Kisame were suddenly blown away when a huge tide of chakra swept through the area, both crashing into the trees, and suddenly the anguished screams of Naruto stopped. What the hell was that? Kisame asked as he got up to see Itachi staring at something wide-eyed with his Sharingan. He turned to see nothing but smoke and dust arising from where the brat was standing. Oi Itachi, what's the matter? Did he die or something? Said Kisame as he picked up his sword. Itachi only stayed silent while he was in trance-like state. Oi, say something, damn it, shouted Kisame as a tick appeared on his forehead. His chakra is now white. But the scroll said it is only temporary, only when you're in the process of awakening the Rinnegan, said Itachi, still in his trance-like state, Sharingan activated. Kisame still couldn't see anything as the smoke was obscuring his vision. The white chakra was said to be possessed by Raikudo Sennin, 6 realms sage, which means his chakra is of light type, whispered Itachi, not believing his eyes. For once, he couldn't believe what his Sharingan was showing him. And his chakra coils, they are huge. His own reserves are mid-cage level, not counting Kyuubi, Itachi still whispering to himself. Oi, what are you blabbering about? Said an annoyed Kisame. There was a sudden gust of wind, not as violent as before, which came from the epicenter Naruto seemed to have created, also clearing the smoke in the process. Itachi and Kisame's jaws dropped to the ground, their eyes almost bulging out of their sockets when they saw Naruto. There standing in the middle was a man, with height about 5 feet 4, not a shrimp. His jumpsuit was straining under the muscles, which were a lot more noticeable now. His spiky blonde hair were glowing, if only a bit. They seemed to have grown a lot, pointing in every direction with bangs covering his eyes. Itachi could have swore he saw a chibi Yondaime there. Anyone could mistake Naruto for Minato now, but his whisker marks were a dead giveaway as they were more defined, adding to his ferocity. Naruto's going to kill me for all the fangirls he's going to attract. Not that he will spare me now for what he endured in Tsukiyomi, thought Itachi. Meanwhile, Kisame was having a hard time controlling the Samahata, as it seemed to have taken a liking to Naruto's huge chakra reserves. Naruto lifted his head to show his eyes for the first time after his seemingly super transformation. They were still a shade of blue, somewhat purple, one black ring surrounded a black dot-like pupil in the center. Naruto was surprised when, instead of normal visibility, he could see chakra of almost everything. The trees, the ground, and a double-layered barrier. He could also see the genjutsu which surrounded the area. His eyesight was sharpened several times, he could even see chakra of small insects. Whoa, what is this feeling? I feel much stronger now. I can feel my chakra has increased several times, it's like an endless valley of river. I just don't know how to describe it. And my muscles are like bushy brows. What happened to me? Thought Naruto while looking around. But when he saw Itachi, the temperature of the area dropped several degrees. All he could see was red and feel an intense bloodlust for Itachi. Seeing Naruto was directing huge amount of killing intent at him, Itachi immediately knew he had to do something and fast. I'm going to rip you to shreds, you asshole, roared Naruto while he dashed towards Itachi, or at least tried to, but immediately tripped on his feet and fell first into the ground. What the? Said a surprised Naruto. Why can't I move properly? Thought a panicked Naruto. Kisame, you know what to do. I will capture him in a Tsukiyomi before he is used to his new body, and you will keep giving me chakra from outside the Tsukiyomi. This time, it's going to drain a huge amounts of chakra. Let's go, said Itachi before they both disappeared. To any normal eye, they just vanished from sight. But due to his dujutsu, Naruto could see them, although barely, coming towards him. Kisame appeared baying Naruto, picked him and held him in a bear hug-like grip from behind. Itachi appeared in front of Naruto, staring him in the eyes. What are you? Naruto was cut off. Tsukiyomi. Oh shit. Not again, thought a groaning Naruto as forest around him faded. Here you go, Itachi, said Kisame, keeping his right hand on Itachi's shoulder and started giving him his chakra while he held onto Naruto with one arm. World of Tsukiyomi. Naruto again found himself tied to same posts with same red sky and same moon, with Itachi standing in front of him. What do you want, Itachi? Why am I here again? Spat Naruto. Itachi sighed. Alright Naruto-kun, from this point you will listen to me, said as he placed a silencing jutsu on Naruto. You've noticed the changes in your body, haven't you? Asked Itachi. Naruto went wide-eyed after hearing him. You can shake your head, Naruto-kun, said Itachi. His eyes are just like pain. The only difference is that he has 3 rings and Naruto has 1 ring, thought Itachi while observing Naruto's Rinnegan. Naruto nods. Now I want you to close your eyes, concentrate and tell me if you feel chakra in your eyes, said Itachi. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Itachi. Please believe me, Naruto-kun. If you don't believe me, then look at this scroll, said Itachi while showing him a scroll. Naruto's eyes widened upon reading the scroll. It said, Dear Naruto-kun, I know you are thinking Itachi killed us, but it was just a high-level Genjutsu Tsukiyomi, an ability granted to the Uchihas when they acquire the Mangekyo Sharingan. It affects all your 5 senses, plus your perception of time. So, whoever was killed is alive and well. Now, as a genin of Konohagakure no Sato, I order you to fully cooperate with Uchiha Itachi and his companion Hoshigaki Kisame. They will explain everything, it's for the best. Your Jiji, Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. Beneath was the official stamp of the Hokage. Tears of relief started flowing from Naruto's eyes. Thank you, Kami. Thank you, Kami. Everyone's alive. Hinata-chan too, thought Naruto happily, like he was just offered ramen on the house. Now, do what I told you, Naruto-kun, said Itachi while putting back the scroll. Naruto nodded as he closed his eyes and started concentrating. Do you feel any chakra? Asked Itachi. Upon seeing Naruto nod, Itachi explained, that's what it feels like when you have a dujutsu. Ninjas having Sharingan and Byakugan also feel chakra in their optical coils. I have a dujutsu, thought Naruto enthusiastically. You, Naruto, have one of the strongest dujutsus ever seen, the Rinnegan, which was said to be possessed by the sage of the 6 paths. I presume you know about the creator of ninjutsu, said Itachi. Naruto nodded. Finally, those secret hours of boring reading in the library is coming in handy, thought Naruto. Now your Rinnegan can be turned off like Sharingan and Byakugan. To deactivate it, close your eyes and try to remove chakra from your eyes. It's pretty easy, try it, said Itachi. Naruto nodded and closed his eyes. After a few moments, He opened his eyes to show the same cerulean blue color. Your dujutsu is far stronger than Sharingan or Byakugan. But that doesn't mean you are stronger. You are only mid-Chunin at best right now, said Itachi seriously. Upon seeing Naruto nod, Itachi continued. Before I go any further, I want you to promise me that you would not show any hostility against me when I unbind you. Or else, you know what I can do to you in Tsukiyomi, said Itachi seriously while his Mangekyo Sharingan spun wildly to make his point clear. Naruto gulped and nodded frantically. Geez, he's even scarier than that crazy Proctor, thought Naruto. Immediately the cross posts that were holding Naruto disappeared while Itachi undid the silencing jutsu. Naruto fell on the ground. He tried to stand but found it difficult as he was not able to control his body movements properly. When he stood, his legs became wobbly and he sat on a chair. Where did this chair come from? Asked Naruto aloud. In Tsukiyomi, I control everything including space and time. I can make anything happen here, said Itachi, amused by the blonde's perplexed expression. Cool. This jutsu is amazing. I wish I could do this technique, said Naruto giddily. Alright Naruto, do you have any questions before I continue because I don't want to be interrupted when I speak, said Itachi seriously. Right. I have many questions. Let's start. Why the hell can't I control my body properly? Why did you torture me by making me see my precious people getting killed? Who is that shark face with you? Why are you wearing matching costumes? Why did Orochimaru attack Sasuke? Why did we come in this Tsukiyomi again? Why did Gigi ordered you to do this? I thought you were a missing nin. And if you're still following the Hokage's orders, that means you're a good guy. And if you're a good guy, why did you slaughter the entire Uchiha clan? And if you had to kill them, why didn't you kill Sasuke Tem? Seriously, he's such a pain in the, shouted Naruto before panting to catch his breath. Did the Rinnegan expanded his vocal cords too? Thought Itachi with a raised eyebrow. Well, first I will answer those questions which are not linked to your dujutsu. Before I answer these questions, I want you to know that some of the answers are SS class secrets instated by the Sandaime-sama. So you'll have to keep the answers to yourself only. Do you understand, Naruto-kun? Asked Itachi. Upon seeing Naruto nod, Itachi closed his eyes and continued. Many years ago, Konoha was formed by the Uchiha and Senju clan. The leaders of these two clans were Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. Both wanted to be the Hokage, but ultimately, Senju Hashirama was chosen to become the Shadaime Hokage. Wanting to throw a coup, Madara tried to coax the Uchiha clan members into joining him. They, however, strongly influenced by the Shodai's words, didn't join him. Fueled with anger and betrayal, the leader of the Uchiha clan left the village. After some years, he came back to destroy Konoha, which led to the duel between Hashirama and Madara. It is said that Madara died in that battle, but I have my suspicions. After that, the Nadaime was chosen as Senju Tobirama, brother of Senju Hashirama, then the Sandaime Hokage and then the Yondaime Hokage. But not a single Uchiha ever became the Hokage. This hurt the pride of Uchiha clan greatly, and some years after the Kyuubi attack, they started planning a coup d'etat against the Sandaime Hokage. I became aware of their plans and found that the whole Uchiha clan was involved except some few people like Sasuke and my mother, so I reported to the Hokage. I was given a S-rank mission to annihilate the entire Uchiha clan, but inwardly I knew that I wouldn't be able to kill Sasuke and my mother. But before I could stab that bastard of my father, he pulled my mom in front of him. It was too late for me to stop the attack and she was killed. She was an excellent shinobi and probably stronger than Fugaku, but due to the situation she was caught off guard, or she could have easily stopped me. I put Sasuke in a comatose state for 2 weeks using Tsukiyomi and made him believe only power mattered to me. I intended for him to hate me and not follow the path what my arrogant ancestors took, but instead he became a power-hungry Uchiha. Now I'm regretting my decision to let him live, explained Itachi with a sigh. Naruto was shell-shocked as he came to know the circumstances behind the Uchiha massacre. Well, that was really a huge sacrifice on your part for the village. You have my utmost respects. I'm sorry for calling you a murderer before, said Naruto in regret. No need to apologize, Naruto-kun. It's nothing compared to what I did to you in Tsukiyomi before, said Itachi, dismissing his apology. But who is your partner? Asked Naruto, still sitting on the chair. He is Kisame Hoshigaki, one of the members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Don't worry, he's on my side. We both are a part of an organization called Akatsuki. It's a group of very strong S-ranked missing nins which aims to collect all the 9 biju in the world, said Itachi. Naruto's eyes widened upon hearing him. But we won't let them do anything to you. Kisame and I are assigned to capture you, so you're safe for now. We are acting as undercover agents for the Hokage and report to him about the Akatsuki's movements. The black cloak with red clouds signifies we are the members of Akatsuki. Akatsuki members always travel in pair, supporting each other's abilities, and hence it's difficult to defeat them, said Itachi. But what does this organization wants to do with all the tailed beasts? Asked Naruto. Even we don't know its true motives, but whatever it is for, it sure is not good, said Itachi grimly. Okay, so far I understand, but I still can't understand why did Gigi ordered you to come here in the middle of Chunin exams, asked a confused Naruto. Hokage-sama wanted you to awaken your bloodline limit as soon as possible because of the growing threat the Akatsuki poses, and after seeing Orochimaru today, I believe it was the right decision. But still, he took a gamble as he was not sure if you would awaken it. You need to get strong as fast as possible, Naruto-kun, for you're no match for Orochimaru or the Akatsuki right now, said Itachi. Naruto nodded with pure undeterred determination in his eyes. As for why Hokage-sama particularly sent me to awaken your bloodline, it's because to activate Rinnegan, one must see the people he cares the most about die. But Hokage-sama couldn't do that to you, so he sent me to use Tsukiyomi on you, make you see your loved ones die, and in the process activate Rinnegan. It was an ingenious idea if I must say so, said Itachi. Wow, Gigi's really smart, ain't he? Said an impressed Naruto while Itachi nodded. Now comes the important part. After seeing Orochimaru attack your squad, I'm suspecting he is planning something big, so you're gonna need everything to tackle whatever there is for you in the future. Hokage-sama also ordered me to train you, Naruto, right now, said Itachi while Naruto's eyes widened. But I don't have time to train, Chunin exams are going on, remember, said a confused Naruto while Itachi smirked at his perplexed face. You forgot that 3 days in Tsukiyomi is only 1 second on the outside, said an amused Itachi. Naruto's jaw dropped to the ground. If this is true, then he could get 3 days worth of training in only 1 second. The applications of this jutsu are limitless. But this jutsu uses a lot of chakra and I can only do it twice a day, meaning 6 days in the Tsukiyomi. But my partner Kisame is constantly giving me his chakra, meaning the time we can spend training in here will be increased, and believe me when I say he has huge chakra reserves. He's called a biju without a tail, said Itachi while enjoying the look of Naruto's gaping expression. How much time? Asked Naruto in barely contained excitement. Kisame can use about 10 times chakra as me and can still take on a Chunin. Therefore we can spend 60 days in Tsukiyomi, meaning 2 months, said a smirking Itachi. Now Naruto had trouble picking his jaw from the ground. Amazing. This means that on the outside only 20 seconds would have passed, said Naruto in awe. You're right. But remember, in Tsukiyomi you can only train in ninjutsu and genjutsu. It's because you can only train your mind here while your body is only standing in the real world, so physical training would be useless. But you can practice some taijutsu styles to memorize them, explained Itachi. But what use a taijutsu style is if I don't have the required strength, agility, precision and speed for it? Even if I master all the katas of the taijutsu, it still wouldn't as effective as it should be, said a confused Naruto while Itachi nodded. That's where I answer the question why you are not able to properly control your body. You see, Naruto-kun, when you awakened the Rinnegan, your genes and body structure changed drastically. It's like you have a completely new body now. All your old muscles and tendons were destroyed in place of new ones. That's why you felt so much pain coursing through your body before. These new changes result in drastically increased speed, strength, reflexes, agility, flexibility, almost anything you can relate to taijutsu. But your mind is not used to this upgraded body of yours. You have to train your mind so it can be in synchronization with your body. Tsukiyomi is a perfect place for your training now. Your body now is ready for almost all the mid-level taijutsu styles that the shinobi world can throw. Though I prefer you only learn one and completely master it, explained Itachi. So you're saying that I'm a 2 years toddler now who can't even control his body properly, muttered an annoyed Naruto, but Itachi clearly heard him. Don't be so down, Naruto. It may seem frustrating, but you'll see how big of a physical upgrade you got. Your body is now that of a rookie Chunin. It takes years of hard work for a Chunin to get this level of fitness, which you only got in a matter of minutes, said Itachi. But isn't it unfair for other shinobi who train so hard every day of their life? Before a couple of minutes, I was one of them, a genin with no talent at all, and then suddenly this. Although bloodlines are cool and all, but I never really liked them. It seems to give unfair advantages to bloodline users. For instance, your Sharingan, you guys just copy jutsus and predict our movements before we even know what our move will be. It takes sweat and blood to learn those techniques, to hone our reflexes and skills, but the Uchihas just copy them in a couple of minutes, said an angry Naruto, making the Uchiha in front of him sigh. You should know, Naruto, a bloodline limit does not make a shinobi invincible. Even though the Sharingan can copy a jutsu, it does not master it, for which you have to do your own hard work. For example, let's take a simple fireball jutsu. If you copy it with your Sharingan, it only shows the required hand seals and the amount of chakra to be applied. So when we do it after the copying it, we do the weakest form of the respective jutsu. To improve it, we have to do our own training so that we can burn as much oxygen as we can using our fire-natured chakra without using excess amount of chakra than required. If we clash the weaker form of jutsu with an experienced fire element user, his fireball would be much bigger and would be very high in heat intensity as compared to that of a freshly copied jutsu, explained Itachi. But during our first C-rank mission, Kakashi-sensei fought a Kiri missing nin, Momochi Zabuza. During the fight, he copied his water dragon jutsu, and when they both fired the dragons at each other, they just cancelled each other. Then how can a freshly copied jutsu be as strong as compared to Zabuza's jutsu, as he was proficient in water element, asked Naruto while Itachi smirked after listening to his question. That was not the first time he did that jutsu, Naruto-kun. In fact, I have seen him use that jutsu many times when he was in Anbu. He was only bluffing so that the enemy may think that his Sharingan can perfect any jutsu that he throws at him. Didn't you ever think that Kakashi no Sharingan, the man who has copied over 1,000 jutsus, wouldn't have copied a jutsu as common as water dragon jutsu before? Deception is an important part of being a ninja, Naruto-kun. Every bloodline has its strengths and weakness. In Sharingan, even though you can see fast movements which are barely visible to eye, but if that Uchiha is not fast enough, what use it is of then? Also, take Byakugan White Eye, for example. Even though it can see chakra points and 3590 of vision, you can increase your chakra so much that the immense amount of light forces the Byakugan user to either deactivate or stun him temporarily, and believe me, as I have already done that. Also, a long-range fighter can defeat a Hyuga as they only rely on gentle fist and closing the chakra points of their opponents, said Itachi. Upon seeing Naruto silent, he continued. The world of shinobi is not fair, life is not fair. You should know it best. You were always scorned, hated, glared, ignored and beaten upon for something you had no control over. Grow up, Naruto-kun. Akatsuki members would always attack you in pair. It will probably be 1-on-2 battle. They wouldn't give a damn shit about the fight being unfair. They will do whatever it takes to capture you. In missions, if you're surrounded by enemies, you can't complain of it being unfair. You can't just whine about something you can do nothing about. instead you have to get over it. The three legendary Sannin, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Orochimaru, none of them had any bloodlines, but they defeated many formidable bloodline users in the Third Great Shinobi War and are now S-ranked ninjas. It takes guts, determination and the will to never give up to become the best. Tell me Naruto-kun, do you have what it takes to become the strongest shinobi I know you can be? Can you continue to bear the burden of being the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Kitsune? Can you make the bridge of peace the shinobi world so much needs? Do you have what it takes to become the best Hokage? Said Itachi rather loudly at the end. Naruto looked up to stare into Itachi's eyes, Rinnegan meeting Sharingan. Itachi was taken aback by those eyes, full of determination, guts and will, stronger than steel. You bet. Raining and feelings. You bet. Said Naruto with determination. Very well, but before we start training, I want you to read this scroll. It states all the abilities of Rinnegan, its origins, stages and its relation to the Uzumaki clan, said Itachi taking out a big scroll from a ceiling scroll before giving it to Naruto. You Uzumaki clan? Asked a startled Naruto. First read this scroll. I will answer your questions later, said Itachi. Naruto nodded before opening the scroll and started reading it. Rinnegan was the blood inheritance limit of Raikudo Sennin. The Rinnegan was regarded as the god of creation when the world was racked with chaos and as a weapon of destruction which could return everything to nothingness. Usage of Rinnegan is said to give the user strong affinities for all 6 forms of chakra nature manipulations, namely, wind, fire, water, lightning, earth and gravity. It also gives strong affinities for sub-elements, which today are present in clans possessing 1 or 2 of these elements. But a Rinnegan user can master all the basic and sub-elements but needs large amounts of training, especially to master the sub-elements. Sub-elements are also called secondary elements as they are the combination of 2 basic elements. Some of these elements are boil, ice, wood, storm, lava, scorch, etc. However, there are those elements which are very rare and extremely difficult to master, which are called tertiary elements, also falling in the abilities of Rinnegan. At the present there are only 3 present known tertiary elements: dust, crystal and steel. Some shinobi or clans have been known to use these rare elements, either by the process of Keki Tuta, bloodline selection, or they already have bloodline limit for these elements. These elements are combination of 3 elements. Following are given the composition of the commonly known secondary and tertiary elements. Boil fire plus water, fire and water in 2, 1, otherwise they will simply cancel each other. Ice wind plus water, wind and water in equal amounts. Wood earth plus water, earth and water in equal amounts. Storm water plus lightning, water and lightning in 3, 1. Lava earth plus fire, earth and fire in equal amounts. Scorch wind plus fire, wind and fire in 2, 1. Dust earth plus wind plus fire, earth, fire and dust in equal amounts. Crystal wind plus water plus lightning, wind, water and lightning in equal amounts. Steel fire plus lightning plus earth, fire, lightning and earth in equal amounts. Rinnegan has 4 different levels. These are: Level 1. When Rinnegan is activated, the user is automatically on level 1, identified by 1 black ring around the black dot-like pupil. Its abilities are physical enhancement, increased chakra reserves, better chakra control, affinities for any 3 basic elements in addition to gravity element is granted, can see chakra-like Byakugan though at a lower level, and the user can sign multiple summoning contracts. Level 2. When level 2 of Rinnegan is activated, 2 black rings, concentric circles, can be seen surrounding a black dot-like pupil. The abilities which come with second stage are slight increase in chakra reserves, chakra control is improved drastically, 1 more basic element affinity is added to your arsenal, ninjutsu and taijutsu can be copied up to some extent except the bloodlines, fast movements can be seen and predicted which are not visible to eye, the user is not affected by genjutsu up to A rank, and lastly chakra can be seen in more detail but still lesser than Byakugan. Level 3. When level 3 of Rinnegan is activated, 3 black rings can be seen surrounding a black dot-like pupil. Its abilities include improved chakra control so much that with enough practice, the user can do up to A-rank jutsus without any hand seals. Last of the 6 basic elements affinity is now unlocked, and also the user can see chakra points like Byakugan. Level 4 Kageyoshi Rinnegan, vibrant display of the ocular eye. This is the highest known level that any Rinnegan user can attain, and only Raikudo Sennin is said to have accomplished this level. In this upgrade, the appearance of Rinnegan changes noticeably. There are 4 ring but glowing yellow in color surrounding a dark blue dot-like pupil. Due to this glowing ability of Rinnegan in 4th stage, you can say that the user is granted night vision up to some extent. Its other abilities are Chibaku Tensei, bursting Earth's celestial body, Izanagi, forefather god, and the user can revive a dead person by using some of his life force. Although, there might be some other abilities since not much is known about the 4th stage. Chibaku Tensei and Izanagi are one of the strongest techniques in the world. Much more is explained about these two in separate scrolls, which requires chakra of a Rinnegan user to open them due to a chakra receptor seal, as the chakra of a Rinnegan user is unique. Only users possessing the level 4 can open these scrolls. One should also keep in mind that this scroll does not state all the abilities of the Rinnegan. There may be some that the user may discover by himself. However, there are some other techniques which are only special to Rinnegan and are gravity-based, which are explained in detail in gravity manipulation scrolls. It was said that the Senju clan were descendants of Raikudo Sennin's Dujutsu, but some say that it was the Uzumaki clan that acquired the genes for the Rinnegan. However, it is said that some people did activate Rinnegan before the formation of Senju, Uchiha or any other clan. But since then no one has been able to activate it. In ancient scrolls, it is stated that during the activation, the person leaks white chakra temporarily, which was said to be possessed by Raikudo Sennin. After the activation, the chakra is said to turn back to normal blue color. It is also said that when the user sees someone close to him die, the pain causes him to awaken the Rinnegan. But today the existence of Rinnegan is denied by almost all of the shinobi, stating that is only a myth. One last thing is that nobody knows how to unlock the 2nd, 3rd and 4th levels, just like the tomos of Sharingan. It might happen when a user experiences immense pain, emotional stress, or during the heat of the battle. Some abilities of Rinnegan are still unknown, but it truly is the most powerful dujutsu in the world. Naruto just remained silent after reading the scroll, contemplating on the information he just read about his dujutsu and what Itachi told him until now. Itachi stared at the new transformed Naruto, wanting to see how Naruto would take such info. Yeah. The author was interrupted by a loud shout of joy as Naruto whooped his fist in the air, in the process dropping the large scroll. I've got the best dujutsu in the world. Ha! Take that, Sasuke Tem. I have a bloodline, and guess what? It's better than yours. I'll become the strongest shinobi in Konoha and then the Hokage. That old monkey really needs a retirement, Dadbao, said Naruto as the dam of emotions he's been keeping in check broke. Itachi to restrain himself from laughing at that last comment. He totally agreed with Naruto. Konoha needed Minato's successor. He really is your son, Kushina Sensei. I see he inherited some of the anxiety and excited quirks you had, thought Itachi while remembering his sensei's habits. So what are you going to teach me, Itachi Sensei? I know my 3 basic elements would be awesome. Are you going to teach me some ultra cool super jutsu? And how do I control my Rinnegan? Tell me, Dadbao, said an excited Naruto with stars in his oceanic blue eyes. Although Naruto was far mentally matured than anyone of his age, he was still a sucker for ninjutsu, and boy was he excited about his bloodline abilities. Itachi Sensei, I like the sound of that, thought Itachi. Calm down, Naruto-kun. First we're gonna work on synchronizing your body and mind with each other. You still can't control your body, remember? Said Itachi, not wanting Naruto to jump the gun. Damn. Naruto slumped in his chair. First, Naruto-kun, I'll explain to you the benefits of shadow clones and the reason it is stated in the Forbidden Scroll, said Itachi. I already know them. When a shadow clone dispels, All its memories, experiences, or in case of training mentality progress, is transferred to the original user. One shadow clone cuts the time required to train in something in half as compared to that of only original user. But in my case, if I summon 500 shadow clones, it will take me 1/1000th time to train in something than the original time required. Hence, it's a gift from Kami for shinobi with large chakra reserves. But its downsides are that it causes a huge headache when mass shadow clones are dispelled after training due to rush of information, and it can kill people with low chakra reserves due to chakra exhaustion. Another reason it is stated forbidden because if it falls into the hands of a shinobi from another village, will you get the point? And before you ask me why didn't I train with shadow clones is because I had nothing to learn and the only thing I could do was try and improve my chakra control using the tree climbing exercises, said Naruto seriously. Itachi blinked, then blinked again. How did you know all that? It's not even stated in the Forbidden Scroll, asked a surprised Itachi that a genin had learned the secret of shadow clones so quickly, and you should know that if you are able to surprise Itachi then heads off to you. Well duh, I have been using a large amount of shadow clones since I became a genin. You have to be a total idiot not to figure it out. And the rest, well it's pretty obvious, said Naruto offhandedly. He's a genius, not to mention he has amazing analytical abilities. I can't believe how much talent he used to hide under all that acting, thought an amazed Itachi. Okay, now tell me, earlier when you used half of your chakra reserves, how many shadow clones were you able to make? About 250. Why, he is mini Kisame in terms of chakra, thought Itachi. Now you again use half of your chakra reserves. Let's see how many shadow clones you are able to make, said Itachi while Naruto shrugged. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Mass Shadow Clone Jutsu. Neither of them were prepared for what they saw. They were at least 500 shadow clones yelling obscenities at Naruto as they were not able to stand. Holy shit! Both thought simultaneously. This is half of your chakra reserves? Questioned Itachi dumbly. Whoa, my chakra reserves have skyrocketed along with my chakra control. I could easily mold my chakra this time, said an excited Naruto. After coming over his initial shock, Itachi ordered Naruto's clones to start training to control their bodies. All you could see were a bunch of 12-year toddlers trying to walk properly while the original Naruto was still in his chair. Itachi-sensei, whenever I use chakra after awakening my Rinnegan, I get this warm feeling. I feel very peaceful when it flows through my chakra coils. My chakra is so light but at the same time very strong. I just don't know how to describe it, said a perplexed Naruto while Itachi nodded. I don't know how, but your chakra nature has changed. It is now white in color like the Raikudo Sennin. I also felt it when you used chakra. While using Sharingan, all I can see is white chakra flowing through your coils with a mixture of red in it. But how? White chakra was supposed to be temporary, not permanent. But it's not bad, is it? Asked Naruto, but it sounded more as a statement. Absolutely not, Naruto-kun. The fact that your chakra is white means you have light-type chakra, which is very pure, and only the Raikudo Sennin was said to have possessed it in the past. Guess I have to ask Gigi about this, pondered Naruto. While your clones train, let's check which basic elements you have now along with gravity, said Itachi, handing him a chakra paper. When Naruto channeled his chakra through the chakra paper, first it started floating in midair, then 1/3 part of the paper crinkled and burst into intense sparks of electricity, then 2/3 part of paper was completely dissolved in water almost to molecular level, and the last part was torn to millions of small bits of paper due to the unreal amount of cuts it received. Itachi whistled at the display. As expected, you have very strong affinities for all your current elements as stated in the scroll. Your current elements are wind, water, lightning and gravitation. The other elements are ice, storm and crystal, said Itachi. I'm so awesome. So Itachi-sensei, what jutsus are you going to teach me? Will I able to use ice jutsus like Haku? Huh, said Naruto as he was practically beaming with excitement. You shouldn't take your training lightly, Naruto-kun. Nature manipulation of even basic elements takes years to master, let alone secondary or tertiary elements. Seeing Naruto down, he continued. But with around 1,000 shadow clones for 2 months, I'm sure you can master ice and storm along with basic elements. I'm not sure about crystal though, as it is a tertiary element and is such extremely difficult to master, said Itachi while Naruto's clones were training. Don't know if you can call trying to walk training. Then I'm going to train as hard as I can. I'll show them I am not a dead last, said a determined Naruto as he too started training. While Itachi took out a very familiar brand new orange book with a title, ICHA in the bed tactics, with a golden strip at the bottom on which was written, Ultra Limited Gold Collector's Platinum Edition. On the top left was the author's stamp, the gallant toad sage Jiraiya-sama. In the middle of the front cover was a drawn picture of a long spiky white-haired man giggling perversely while he was groping a blonde-haired woman's voluptuous S and was giving a V for victory sign. The blonde-haired woman had her hair in 2 thin ponytails. Guess who the woman is and get a cookie. Just below the picture was written Heaven hath no pleasure like a blondie. Why does this chick seem familiar? Thought a suspicious Itachi. He shrugged and opened the book as he started reading while giggling perversely as blood started seeping out of his nose. One of Naruto's clones upon seeing Itachi thought, he is reading that same orange book while giggling just like Kakashi-sensei. I've got to find out what's so funny. Time skip. After half an hour in Tsukiyomi. After relentlessly practicing for half an hour with 500 shadow clones, Naruto was finally synchronized with his body and his shadow clones were now sparring among themselves. He was surprised to find out the increase in his strength and speed. He was expecting his body to be stronger but not that much. Itachi too was surprised a bit. His speed and strength is up to low Chunin level right now, but he can be easily taken down in taijutsu by an experienced Chunin, thought Itachi after observing Naruto for a while. Alright Naruto, that's enough. Now dispel all your shadow clones, 20 at a time, said Itachi as he put his precious book back in his robe. Naruto nodded as he dispelled all his clones after some time and felt a mild headache. Well, that wasn't much, said Naruto before his stomach groaned as he blushed in embarrassment. Hey, why am I feeling hungry? Asked a confused Naruto. Genjutsu affects all your 5 senses Naruto-kun. Hence, Tsukiyomi is making your mind believe that all that workout you did was real, thus you feel hungry. You should eat something, said Itachi. Okay, but before that, can you change my clothes? This orange jumpsuit is pathetic, said Naruto. Itachi was surprised after hearing him. But I thought you liked your clothing, said Itachi. I guess it's due to the changes in my DNA, shrugged Naruto. Of course. Due to the altercations in his DNA, his personality would change too. But I'm surprised he still has retained some of it, thought Itachi. So you're change my clothes or what? Asked an impatient Naruto. Itachi nodded while thinking of something that would suit Naruto. I know just the right thing. It's about time. Naruto followed his father's footsteps, thought a smirking Itachi. Itachi waved his hands as Naruto's orange jumpsuit was replaced by his new clothes. His new outfit consisted of black sleeveless Chunin-like vest under which was a dark blue sweatshirt along with dark blue shinobi pants. There were typical kunai holsters and shuriken pouches on his left thigh. His sweatshirt was tied to his wrists and just below his elbows with orange laces so that the flaps don't get in the way. He had an white high-neck cape reaching to just below his knees. On the back of his cape was the Uzumaki clan symbol, circular concentric swirls, in purple and black flames were licking his cape at the bottom and at the bottom of short sleeves of the cape. He took a look at his outfit. Cool. Do you have this same clothing out there? Asked an excited Naruto. As a matter of fact, Hokage-sama did give me this specific outfit for you. He stated that it was time for a change, said Itachi while Naruto nodded as he began to check out his cape. Naruto-kun, what would you want to eat? Asked Itachi expecting a change in his answer from before. Ramen, shouted a grinning Naruto as he pumped his fist in air while Itachi face vaulted. Even the legendary Rinnegan couldn't defeat his obsession for ramen, thought Itachi while a table appeared with several bowls of steaming ramen. Naruto had stars in his eyes as he began wolfing down ramen like it was soon going to go extinct. After a few minutes, he was finished as he patted his stomach. Man, that was good. I should come here more often, said Naruto with a contented sigh. I cannot do this jutsu when I just feel like it. As the powers of Mangekyo Sharingan are used, over time the user gets blind. However, what matters is the quantity and not durability. For example, if I use Tsukiyomi numerous times, I will get blind easily. But if I use the Tsukiyomi for the same amount of time but only once, it will have less effect on my eyes, which is the exact thing I'm doing right now, explained Itachi seriously. Naruto's eyes widened as he heard the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan. He was even more surprised that someone would do this for him even if he was ordered by the Hokage, as an S-ranked mission could be declined. I really appreciate you using such jutsu for me, Itachi-sensei, said Naruto with a lump in his throat as he bowed his head. No worries, Naruto-kun. But enough talk, from now on you will train extensively for 2 months. Also, I want to tell you that with your improved chakra control, you can also learn genjutsu, although at this point of time you can only learn up to C rank ones. Now, first you have to completely master your 3 basic elements before moving to your secondary or tertiary elements. First, create 1,000 shadow clones, said Itachi as the environment around him changed to that of a beautiful forest. There were green lush trees everywhere surrounding them with a huge waterfall in the middle. Naruto was not too sure about the genjutsu part, but for the first time in his life someone was willingly teaching him something and he would be damned if he wasted this opportunity. So he nodded as he created 1,000 shadow clones and was panting by the end of it, but recovered via food pill while Itachi unsealed 3 scrolls, each having a kanji for wind, water and lightning. Good, now I want 3 groups of 250 shadow clones to take a scroll of each element and train according to the instructions. The rest 250 will come with me for genjutsu training, said Itachi as he went with other clones to start 2 long months of training, or rather 20 short seconds in the outer world. At Hokage's office before the Orochimaru's attack, Hiruzen Sarutobi sat in his office behind his desk while smoking as he rubbed his temples. This is really not my day. Why do I have to face the wrath of those 4? They sure aren't going to spare me when they hear what I have planned for Naruto-kun in the Forest of Death, thought the Hokage while he was sweating bullets. In front of him stood the famous 4 ice queens of Konoha who have never gone on a date with any man. While they were only 19 years old, they had the body of a goddess. Each having her own traits. They were the hottest and most wanted kunoichi in the village and probably the most dangerous. They were always found in group and watched each other's backs. All of them were prodigies in their own way, having made Chunin at the age of 16 and were best friends. The first was a woman of striking beauty with milk creamy flawless skin. Her black curly hair, red lipstick, bluish eyelids and crimson eyes only added to her appearance. She had all the curves in the right places with luscious D-cup S, slim waist and toned legs. She wore a red short-sleeve loose shirt over which were white wrappings covering the upper half of her body to her upper thighs while having a leaf Hittite on her forehead. The second was a woman with a tan flawless skin having purple pineapple-like hair, no lipstick and brown eyes. She wore a rather revealing fishnet almost showing her D-cup S with a peach-colored trench coat and a very short skirt easily crossing the boundary of appropriate. The third was also a beautiful woman having brown hair, black eyes, reddish-pink lipstick, blue stripe markings on her cheeks, 2 longer than normal canines, C-cup S and her skin tone was the fairest amongst them. She wore a typical Chunin attire with the exception that she wore tight black shorts instead of dark blue shinobi pants. And the last of them was a woman of amazing beauty. She had long blue silky hair, emerald green shining eyes, blue lipstick, C-cup S, amazingly soft creamy skin for a kenjutsu user like her and had 2 swords wrapped to her back. She wore a typical Chunin attire with the exception of having an armor in place of a Chunin vest which accentuated her figure all the more. They were Yuhi Kurenai Genjutsu mistress of Konoha specializing in genjutsu who already had taken a team this year. Mitarashi Anko, snake mistress of Konoha, specializing in ninjutsu just like her teacher, and was an interrogation and a torture specialist. Inuzuka Hana, Inuzuka, heiress of Konoha, specializing in taijutsu and her clan's techniques, who was currently working as a vet. Inuzuki Yugao, kenjutsu mistress of Konoha, specializing in kenjutsu, who had recently left the Anbu and became a Chunin. Each of these four had different personalities. Kurenai was calm, collected and social. Anko was loud, brash, and spontaneous. Hana had her typical Inuzuka fiery personality with a touch of softness, and Yugao was a serious and a reserved kunoichi, but she had her moments. But these four kunoichi had one thing in common: they liked a certain blonde to death. His sun-kissed blonde hair, whisker marks, and electric oceanic blue eyes made him incredibly cute to them. Just like Anko, they liked his attitude and kind personality. And his foxy grin, oh how it made their heart melt. They all knew of his mask and understood his reason for acting loud and obnoxious. They always saved him from those stupid villagers time to time, but didn't let him know who they were, courtesy of their Hokage. They were ordered by him not to approach the boy, as he didn't quite trust them like the villagers and other shinobi. They practically begged to Hiruzen in the past to let them be near the boy, but he didn't fudge from his decision. Thus they always remained indifferent to him. And now they were standing in front of him because he requested all of them in his office, while for some reason had sent his Anbu out and activated the private seals. "What do you want, Hokage-sama?" asked Kurenai in a cold tone, while Hana and Anko were glaring at him, whereas Yugao just remained emotionless. Sarutobi winced at the tone. If Thri was anybody else, he immediately would have punished him, her, but he understood their situation, and that was the reason he called them. He sighed before speaking the only words that would get their full attention. "It's about Naruto," said the aged Hokage as he closed his eyes. The next thing he knew, he was barraged with questions from them at the same time. What happened to Naru-chan? Is Naruto-kun alright? Grr. What did they do this time? If the villagers did something to him, I'm gonna rip their heads off with my blades, said Anko, Kurenai, Hana and Yugao simultaneously, worry written all over their face for their favorite blonde. Relax. Relax. I assure you nothing has happened to Naruto-kun, yet, said Sarutobi nervously. Kurenai narrowed her eyes dangerously. What will happen to him? You tell us right this instant, or I'll trap you in a yaoi genjutsu with a guy, warned Kurenai, while Sarutobi paled at the implications of the jutsu. That genjutsu should be a forbidden S rank, thought the nervous Hokage. Why, you see, it's for his own good, Hiruzen tried to explain. Just tell us what is going to happen already, shouted an impatient Hana. Alright, but first you must know about the circumstances concerning the Uchiha massacre. Just keep in mind that it's a forbidden secret, so don't tell anyone, said Sarutobi seriously. For next 10 minutes, he told them about Itachi being his undercover agent and reasons regarding the Uchiha massacre. They were all shocked, just like Naruto, but quickly recovered, as Naruto was their first priority. But what does this have to do with Naruto-kun, Hokage-sama? Asked Yugao with a hint of irritation in her voice. It has everything to do with Naruto-kun. Yesterday, Itachi came to the village along his companion for the time being to inform me about an organization he recently joined called Akatsuki. Akatsuki? Asked Kurenai. It is an organization consisting of 10 to 12 extremely powerful S-ranked missing nins, which aims to collect all the 9 biju in the world, which means they have to hunt down the Jinchuriki, explained Hiruzen, while all of their eyes widened. Then that means they're after Naru-chan too, whispered Anko. Indeed, and if they succeed in capturing Naruto and extracting the Kyuubi, he will die, said the aged professor with a frown, with his hands folded under his chin. If they even so much as touch a hair of Naru-kun, I'll rip them to shreds, growled Hana while showing her clawed nails. I will protect Naruto-kun with my life, said Yugao seriously, while the rest of three nodded with her. But the good news is that Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist who also works for me, are assigned to capture Naruto-kun. So, he's safe for now. All of them breathed a sigh of relief. At least they had some time to prepare. Then we must train him and make him stronger as fast as possible for the future battles, Hokage-sama, said Yugao. That's what's going to happen in the Forest of Death. He's going to get very strong in a couple of minutes, said Sarutobi while inwardly smirking at their confused faces. What do you mean? Isn't he currently taking part in the Chunin exams? Asked a confused Kurenai. Naruto has a Dujutsu, said Hiruzen with a dramatic pause. Although, I'm not quite sure if he would awaken it, further thought the Hokage while all of their faces were priceless as if they were told that they were pregnant with Naruto's child. I wish I had a camera, thought Hiruzen. But, stuttered Anko. But we have never seen him any kind of bloodline limit. His eyes are always those beautiful, charming, exotic in a magnificent shade of deep cerulean blue, said Kurenai with a dreamy sigh. Yeah, others said in unison with a faraway look on their faces while Hiruzen's sweat dropped at their antics. If they ever see someone hurt Naruto, may Kami save him, her from these four. After that thought Sarutobi mentally grinned as an idea popped into his mind. I know just the right punishment for Itachi for stealing my brand new Ika Ika book, thought Sarutobi evilly. After a cough from the Hokage, all the four ice queens came out of their dreamland. His Dujutsu hasn't been activated yet. That's why I have sent Itachi to help Naruto in activating it. Wait, but what is his Dujutsu and how can Itachi awaken it? Asked a confused Hana. For your first question, I will only tell you that it's the strongest Dujutsu the world has ever seen, even stronger than Sharingan and Byakugan. Its name is Rinnegan. But Hokage-sama, that's only a myth, said Yugao, disbelief clearly evident in her voice and on the faces of her friends. Well, we just have to see if it's a myth or not, wouldn't we? Said the professor with a smirk. But what is the role of Itachi in this? Asked Kurenai. We shall see in my crystal ball. It is about time that Itachi and Kisame intercepted Team 7 inches, said Hiruzen as he went over to his crystal ball with the four of them following him. But they weren't prepared for what they saw. There standing in a clearing was Orochimaru, who was holding a bruised and a battered Naruto by his neck. Naruto-kun, shouted Kurenai while Anko was clenching her fists like she was ready to tear the crystal ball apart. Damn you snake bastard. If my Naru-chan dies today, I'm gonna torture you so bad that your experiments would look like a dango, thought a furious Anko while Hana and her dogs were growling. Hokage-sama, we have to save him. I can't afford to lose him, said Yugao frantically. Curse you Orochimaru. You four, we're going there, now, yelled the Hokage. Just as they were about to leave, Sarutobi saw a glimpse of the present scene in the crystal ball. Wait, what now you old coot? Naru-chan can die any second now, shouted a frustrated Anko. Calm down. Itachi and Kisame are there, they'll take care of everything. There's no need for our interference in the second examination, said the Hokage while all of them breathed a sigh of relief. They then gathered around the crystal ball and saw that Orochimaru had fled the scene. Hey, what the hell is happening? Why is Naru-kun screaming and what is that white chakra? Said Hana after observing for some time. All of them had to shield their eyes as the crystal orb flared white due to the amount of white chakra that Naruto was exploding with. Even though I can't sense his chakra, I can still tell this white chakra is very powerful, said Kurenai while blocking her eyes. Hey, would you kindly tell us what the hell is going on here? Yelled Anko. To activate Rinnegan, Itachi used Tsukiyomi on Naruto and forced him to watch his loved ones get killed. The pain of losing someone precious led to the awakening of his Dujutsu, explained the professor. He used that cursed jutsu on Naruto-kun. One that put Uchiha Sasuke in a coma for 2 weeks, asked an incredulous Kurenai with a hint of anger. Grr, I'm gonna give that Itachi Baka a beating of his life, growled Hana. Count me in too, Hana-chan, said Anko with a sadistic smile on her face. Hiruzen shuddered at seeing that smile. If she ever gave you that smile, may Kami spare your genitals. I just hope Naruto-kun comes out of this fine, said an out-of-character Yugao with worry written all over her face. Don't worry Yugao-chan, Naruto-kun is strong, He's bared much worse than this, said Kurenai as she hugged Yugao. I know Kur-chan. But it hurts me to see him in so much pain, said Yugao as she buried her face in Kurenai's shoulders while tears leaked out of her beautiful eyes as Naruto's screams increased in volume. All his life he was beaten by those damn villagers because of the Kyuubi. He didn't even know why he was hated until recently. He is innocent, kind-hearted and the purest person I've ever known. We had to watch him sit lonely at the parks while others played, we had to watch him sniff, cry at nights while he begged for someone to embrace him. He is so lonely, Kur-chan. His eyes clearly reflect all the sadness and pain he feels every day. And now, he's going through so much pain and we can only watch. I want to change those eyes. I want to hug him, kiss him, tell him that he's not alone and will never be. I love him so much even though he's younger than me. I just want my Naruto-kun in my arms. I'm tired of seeing him get hurt, said Yugao as she broke into a fit of sobs while Kurenai comforted her as she wiped her own tears. Sarutobi himself looked sad and ashamed at the foolishness of the villagers. He considered Naruto as his grandson just like Konohamaru and it pained him to see Naruto's life so miserable. We all love him deeply, Yugao-chan. We're never going leave him even if Hokage-sama forbids us from approaching him, said Hana as she glared at the Hokage. I'm sorry that your son's life was so miserable, Minato. But I know that these four would be excellent for Naruto-kun, thought Sarutobi. I know that you four are very upset with my decision, but it was for Naruto-kun's safety. But now I deem it fit to raise the restrictions on approaching him, said the Hokage with a serene smile. Their eyes widened upon hearing him. After all those years, they could finally help him with his burden, they could finally give all the love they felt for their object of affection. You see, Yugao-chan, we can see Naru-chan. Stop crying now already, said a grinning Anko while Yugao nodded happily as she wiped her tears and stood beside Kurenai. Thank you very much, Hokage-sama, said Yugao as she bowed for the first time in years in front of the Hokage. You all can thank me by becoming Naruto-kun's future wives as he falls under the CRA, said a grinning Sarutobi. All of them blushed as they began dreaming about being Naruto's wives. Yes, they already know about Naruto's heritage. Look, he stopped screaming, exclaimed Sarutobi. All of them concentrated on the crystal orb to see Naruto covered with dust smoke. But when the smoke cleared, all of their jaws dropped on the ground. Even Hiruzen couldn't believe his eyes. Although the scroll did said, physical enhancement, but this was absurd. He had total lady killer looks now. While Anko and Hana were openly drooling at the sight of Naruto's muscular body, Kurenai and Yugao were blushing furiously. All of them could only summarize him in only one way. Hot. Steamy hot. When Naruto lifted his head, they all gasped upon seeing his eyes. Is that the Rinnegan? Whispered Kurenai, finding his eyes even more attractive now. Wow. Naru-chan looks even more with those eyes, said Anko. He really has awakened a legendary and a mythical dujutsu, said Hiruzen as he stared at the all-powerful Rinnegan. To read about Rinnegan was one thing, but to see it was on a whole another level. Well, what did you expect, old man? Naru-chan is amazing after all, said a grinning Anko with pride in her voice while Sarutobi's eyebrows twitched in annoyance. I'm not old, yelled an angry Hokage. Then what? You dyed your hair white, old man? Asked Anko innocently. A tick mark appeared on his forehead while the others snickered. I can still stop you from approaching Naruto-kun, you know that, said a smirking Sarutobi. All of them stopped snickering immediately while words like, old monkeys being too smart for their own good. So now what? I can see that Naru-kun isn't used to his new body, said Hana while glancing worriedly at the current scene as Naruto fell face first on the ground. Hiruzen nodded as he told them of his plans for training Naruto in 20 seconds. That's an excellent idea, Hokage-sama, said Yugao while the others nodded with her. Just as he was about to reply, all of them heard a knock on his door. Enter, said Sarutobi as he deactivated the seals. The door opened to reveal his secretary. Hokage-sama. Mizukage-sama has arrived and Reikage-sama has been sighted approaching the village gates. The Triangular Alliance. What? Weren't they supposed to come after 1 month during the third exams? Said a surprised Hana while the others were shocked too. Hi, but I called an emergency meeting due to the Akatsuki, said Sarutobi as he turned to his secretary. Send them in Akane-san. Hi Hokage-sama, bowed the secretary before leaving. All right you four, I wished we could see more of the events concerning Naruto-kun, but you have to leave now, said Hiruzen while all of them groaned as they really wanted to see the results of Naruto's training. Oh and Kurenai, I want you to enter the Forest of Death and keep following Team 7. I'm sure Orochimaru came for a reason and I want you to report any abnormalities. Also, don't interfere in the exams or try to help your team, is that understood? Said the professor with a serious demeanor. Hi Hokage-sama, said a happy Kurenai. Hey, why does Nai-chan get this mission? Yelled Anko while Hana and Yugao were glaring at the Hokage. Because Anko, Kurenai is a genjutsu expert and she can easily blend in with the surroundings and hide her presence, replied Sarutobi calmly. Tough luck Anko-chan, Yugao-chan, Hana-chan, said a grinning Kurenai before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Damn her! All three of them muttered simultaneously before shining out of the office. Sarutobi sighed at their antics. Even if they were matured as a shinobi, they were like kids or sometimes even acted like fangirls when it came to Naruto, but one thing that he was sure about was that they loved him deeply. He had seen their eyes whenever they talked about Naruto or watched him. They were filled with love, compassion, affection, care, and today, a new feeling took birth in those eyes, lust. After seeing Naruto's transformation, their eyes still had the loving gaze for him but with a hint of lust. He sighed as he came out of his musings, now to face the Reikage and the Mizukage. Hope this goes well too, he thought as he went over to his desk waiting for them to arrive. Meanwhile in the Forest of Death, the clearing 20 seconds after the beginning of Tsukiyomi. Kisame was panting, but not much due to the loss of so much chakra. He began to feel tired at about 10 seconds after he started giving Itachi his chakra. If you think rationally, it would look absurd that such high amount of chakra could be depleted in just 20 seconds, which Kisame was currently wondering about. After a few seconds, Naruto and Itachi slowly opened their eyes. Itachi, to reveal his Mangekyo Sharingan while he too was panting heavily, and Naruto, to reveal his Rinnegan with 1 black ring. No one noticed when his eyes glowed silver for a bit before turning into the same Rinnegan, level 1, not even Naruto noticed it as his vision was blurry due to the effects of Tsukiyomi, but after a few seconds, it cleared for him to see Itachi on his knees panting heavily while blood oozed out of his eyes. Itachi-sensei, are you alright? Asked a concerned Naruto while Kisame released him from his hold as he regained his breath. Itachi, you pant, okay? Asked Kisame while Naruto took out a food pill and gave it to Itachi. Yeah, pant, I'm gonna be alright, said a tired Itachi before eating the food pill. After a few seconds, he began to feel his chakra getting restored as he stood up. Sensei, are you alright now? And why did blood came out of your eyes? Asked a worried Naruto. That is a side effect of using Mangekyo Sharingan's techniques for a long time, said Itachi as Naruto nodded in understanding while he turned to Kisame. Long time no see Sharkface, said a smirking Naruto. TCH, it's only been 20 seconds brat, said Kisame while his eyebrows twitched at his nickname. Oh right, sorry, I forgot about that, said Naruto while he grinned sheepishly. So how did the brat's training go, Itachi? Asked Kisame. Itachi smirked. Well, let's just say that Naruto-kun is a lot stronger than what a Chunin is supposed to be, while Naruto puffed out his chest in pride. Ah, that's a pity. The brat's still no match for me. And I was thinking he would get more stronger, mock frowned Kisame. A tick mark appeared on Naruto's forehead, but he decided to play it cool. You said something, Sharkface? Asked Naruto innocently. Why you? Growled Kisame before he was interrupted. Can it, Kisame? We don't have much time, said Itachi calmly while Kisame, HMPHED, in response. Hee. Gotta thank Kakashi-sensei for that, thought a smirking Naruto. Naruto, said Itachi, gaining his attention while taking out a small sealing scroll from under his Akatsuki robes. Here, this scroll contains the same outfit that Hokage-sama gave me, said Itachi as he threw the scroll in Naruto's direction. Thanks, sensei, said Naruto after catching the scroll. Before we go, I want you to know that after this exam, preliminaries would take place before the third examination where the contestants would fight each other. I know that it will be tough just after the second examination, but it is mainly to weed out some genins before the third exams, said Itachi. But why eliminate the contestants who passed the second exam, said a confused Naruto. According to Hokage-sama, there is a competitive batch this year and he's sure that many genins will pass the second exam. In the third exams, the genins fight each other in front of the nobles and merchants from all over the world, hence we can't waste their time and therefore only a limited number of fights can happen, explained Itachi while Naruto nodded in understanding. Also, the Raikage, Mizukage, Hokage and almost all the Junins of Konoha will watch the preliminaries closely. So don't hold back and show them what you can do. About your dujutsu, I think you should reveal it in the preliminaries too. Believe me, you would love the look on their faces, said Itachi as he remembered his clan members' faces when he activated Sharingan at an early age while Kisame remained quiet and Naruto nodded. I hope we meet again, Naruto-kun, and if possible, keep a watch on Sasuke. I will try, sensei, and thanks for everything, said Naruto as Itachi nodded. Until next time, brat, said a grinning Kisame before the Akatsuki duo shunshined out of the clearing while Itachi did some hand seals to deactivate the barriers. Naruto could only sigh as he recalled all the events that happened since the start of the second exams. First that Orochi Tem attacks them and then Itachi and Kisame interfered. Who would have thought? The disgraced child of the village possessing a legendary dujutsu such as Rinnegan. Oh, he would enjoy the look on their faces, but right now, he just wanted to get some sleep. Guess I'll have to wake Sakura up. But I should change my clothes first, said Naruto as he looked around the clearing, battlefield to find a large tree with a big cave in its trunk. He went in there and after a couple of minutes came out in his new favorite shinobi wear. He then went over to Sakura to wake her up, wondering how will Sakura and Sasuke and most of the village will take to his newfound abilities. Hey Sakura, wake up, said Naruto as he nudged her on the shoulder. She had some bruises here and there, but was otherwise alright. Just 1 minute, mumbled Sakura. Come on, we're in the forest of death, remember, said Naruto as he lightly flicked her forehead. Eventually Sakura opened her eyes to see Naruto bent down in front of her. Naruto, what happened? Asked Sakura with blurry eyes as she slowly remembered all the events that took place while her eyes widened. Hey, where's Orochimaru and what happened to Sasuke-kun? Asked Sakura frantically as she quickly stood up. Sasuke's right there, said Naruto as he pointed in Sasuke's direction. Before following his finger, she saw Naruto properly for the first time after she woke up. She immediately blushed a furious red upon seeing him. Whoa, who's this hunk? Said inner Sakura. Who are you? Asked Sakura with a blush while Naruto's sweat dropped as he thought. Did I really change that much? Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, said Naruto in a mock greeting while he extended his hand. Oh, it's nice to meet you, Uzumaki-san. I wait, what? Exclaimed Sakura, who first shook his hand but then realized a bit too late while in Naruto's head, a chibi Naruto was laughing his off. She fell for it. Oh damn, I can't believe it. Naruto, what happened to you? You've suddenly grown and what's the change in your clothes? Asked a surprised Sakura, but he was even more surprised by her reply. He thought that she would lash at him any minute now while screeching like, Sasuke-kun is much better than you. Well, let's just say I underwent a transformation during my fight with Orochimaru and I became tired of my jumpsuit. To answer your previous question, Orochimaru fled the scene due to the circumstances I can't tell you, said Naruto with a frown as he knew where this was going. But why can't you tell me? I'm your teammate and we should trust each other, said a hurt Sakura. After witnessing some of Naruto's fight with Orochimaru today, her views of Naruto somewhat changed. She could now clearly see that Naruto was easily the strongest member of the team, and even though he was obnoxious and rash, he deserved some respect. Since when were we teammates, Sakura? What you're stating now is something you should have said on the day of team selections, which I did said to you, but the only reply I got was a lump on my head. Since when was it about teamwork, especially with me? You guys never bothered to even acknowledge me as a teammate. On the day of the bell test, when my shadow clone came to your hiding spot, you didn't even bother to listen to me, instead just dispelled it by punching it. The same happened to the shadow clone who approached Sasuke, stating that I was a loser and would only hinder his progress. Do you know why I came to you guys, huh? Do you? I came to tell you about the actual meaning of the test, i.e., teamwork, while I fought Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto. But I thought you were just trying to be the hero, taking a Chunin head-on, stuttered Sakura. Just because I acted loud, obnoxious and stupid doesn't mean that I was one. The first time during the academy I approached you, I wanted to be friends with you, but you just ignored me. I always strived for acknowledgement and recognition. I had no one to take care of me while you had parents, relatives and friends. You can't judge a person just by his appearance. Take our Hokage for example, does he look harmful to you? I'm sure you would have thought, oh, he's just a grandfather material. What can the old coot do? He would probably break his back if he bends even once. But he's Hiruzen Sarutobi, the famed professor, trained by the Nadaime and the teacher of 3 legendary Sanins, the man who survived the 2 great shinobi wars and has mastered every ninja art of this village. He can still take on an army of Chunins without a sweat. Appearances are the biggest deceptions for a shinobi. Seeing Kakashi-sensei's lazy attitude, you would have thought he would be taken down rather easily by a surprise attack, but he's always dead on alert and ready for any kind of attack. If you would have tried to know me, you could have seen the real me. You guys, the rookie 9, don't have the flukest of idea about what kind of burden I carry every day. My life has no place even in the most hellish nightmares you have ever seen. I dare you or anyone in this village to live my life for at least 1 month, then you'll know what Uzumaki Naruto is all about, then you'll know the story of the so-called dead last, said Naruto angrily while Sakura was shocked to the core. All that was just a mask. A mask that none of us could see through. We always thought that he was the weakest of us, but in reality, he was the strongest, much stronger than us. But the bottom line is that you've nothing to gain my trust, Sakura, and you know it. So don't even bother asking anything, said Naruto in a cold tone while he went over to Sasuke and slunged him on his back. Meanwhile, Sakura bowed her head in shame as she remembered all the times when she looked down on Naruto for no apparent reason. She will make sure that she'll at least be able to remain friends with him. I'm sorry, Naruto, but from now on, I'll treat you with the respect you deserve even if Sasuke-kun objects to it, thought Sakura. Come on, over here. I found a cave for us to rest up a bit, we still have 4 days left, said Naruto while pointing to the large hole in a tree trunk. Sakura followed while she felt more sad as she noticed the lack of chan to her name. He laid Sasuke down while Sakura entered the lightly lit cave, seeing that the sun was now setting down. Those clothes look good on you, Naruto, said Sakura with a sincere smile. Naruto was surprised when he heard the compliment. Sakura had never said anything nice to him. What was up with her all of a sudden? I know that I treated you very badly ever since I met you. But I'm now determined to change and earn your trust and friendship, said a determined Sakura. Naruto was taken aback by the fact that Sakura wanted to be friends with him, something he wanted in the academy, while his lips slowly turned into a small smile. I guess everyone deserves a second chance, but I have to keep an eye on her if she's planning something, thought Naruto with an almost unnoticeable smile. I'll think about it, but you should check on Sasuke's condition, he's pretty beaten up, said Naruto as he pointed to Sasuke beside him with his thumb. Oh right, I almost forgot about Sasuke-kun, said Sakura while she hurriedly went over to Sasuke before she started applying bandages to his wounds from a first aid medic kit she seemed to carry. Naruto, he's running a high fever. What do we do? We need cold water, but I don't think there's a source of water nearby, said Sakura worriedly. Leave that up to me, said a smirking Naruto as he combined his wind and water chakra to form a big block of ice in his hands. He then used his wind-natured chakra to cut the block into small cubes, still in his hands. Will these do? Asked Naruto as he gave her the cubes. Meanwhile, Sakura's expression was priceless. She couldn't believe what she saw. First, Naruto created ice just like that mist ninhaku and sliced them from out of nowhere. She could only nod dumbly and accept the cubes as she put them on Sasuke's forehead. Naruto, how did you do that? Asked Sakura after tending to Sasuke's injuries. Naruto sighed as he knew how many questions would be coming, not just from Sakura and Sasuke, but from almost everyone who knew him. Look, Sakura, I can't tell you anything right now as it is an S-ranked secret, but from now on you'll see me do things that'll make you go haywire. So whatever it is, just take it in without any questions, and if you gain enough of my trust, I may tell you everything after the Chunin exams are over, said Naruto seriously while he took out his own sleeping bag and sealed his cape to get comfortable, which resulted in Sakura being gobsmacked as she didn't know that Naruto knew how to use sealing scrolls. Okay Naruto, if you say so. But really, that was awesome, and I know that you'll definitely become Chunin this time, Dadbao, said Sakura while giggling at the last word and took out her own sleeping bag as she dragged Sasuke onto it. Yeah, I hope so, mumbled a faintly smiling Naruto as he closed his eyes to get some sleep. I guess the battle between me and Orochimaru opened her eyes to the reality. Maybe she still has a chance, thought Naruto. Well, I'm going to keep watch as I don't feel like sleeping. I'll wake you up if something happens, said Sakura as she walked towards the exit of their temporary shelter. Sure, thanks Sakura, said Naruto before drifting off to sleep.